Hello friends, I Rashmi Singh welcome you all in another lecture of Social Science Class 8. This is going to be the concluding lecture of chapter Minerals and Power Resources. In this lecture, we are going to study about the power resources and its conservation. So without any further delay, let us start the lecture. Okay. So here I have made a very small chart so that you can remember it easily about the power resources. In this lecture, we are going to study about the power resources, its types and conservation methods. Okay. So what are power resources? Since morning till night, we are very much dependent on the electricity or on some or other form of energy. Like as soon as you wake up, you switch on the fan, you iron your uniform, or you go to the school by your bicycle or by some vehicle, by your bus. Okay. So everywhere electricity is being consumed, or when you go to the school by your bus, then some fuel is being used like petrol or anything. All these things are used. So power resources are all those resources which provide us energy. All these things are like coal, petroleum are all the example of power resources. Okay. So we categorize power resources broadly in two types. One is conventional and another is non-conventional. Okay. The meaning of the word conventional is traditional. Okay. So these are the resources which are being used for a very long time. Okay. So I will write the definition. So conventional resources are basically those resources which are being used from the time immemorial. Okay, we are using it for quite a long time till now. The most abundantly used conventional resource is firewood. Okay. Next is fossil fuel and hydel power. All these resources are those resources जो हम सदियों से use करते आ रहे हैं. Okay. अब फायरवुड जो है वो बेसिकली हमें मिलता है ट्रीज से. फायरवुड इज़ नथिंग बट जो पेड़ के हमारे जो टिम्बर्स होते हैं, ब्रांचेस होती हैं, लीव्स होती हैं, जो कि हम एनर्जी के लिए यूज़ कर रहे होते हैं. ओके. सो आई विल टेल यू सम फैक्ट्स अबाउट फायरवुड दैट इन रूरल इंडिया 50% of the energy demand is being met by firewood only. Okay. Now, why it is important to stop using firewood? Because it creates a lot of pollution and collecting firewood itself is a very difficult task. Okay, it's a very time taking task. So a lot of women, children, they spend most of their life in doing such futile work like collecting firewood. Okay, so this needs to be stopped and pollutes environment a lot. Okay. Next is fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels, when remains of plants and animals get buried deep inside the earth crust under huge pressure, it gets converted into fossil fuels. Okay. So बहुत सारे जो एनिमल्स और प्लांट्स के रिमेन्स हैं, जब वो अर्थ क्रस्ट के नीचे बहुत सालों तक बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर एक्सर्ट होने की वजह से कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं फॉसिल फ्यूल्स में. इसमें हम 3 फॉसिल फ्यूल्स पढ़ने वाले हैं, दैट इज़ कोल, पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस. Okay. These are the three fossil fuels which are being abundantly by humans. Okay, so first is coal. Okay. जब प्लांट्स के रिमेन्स या स्वैम्पी एरियाज में जो एल्गी वगैरह होती हैं उनके रिमेन्स जब अर्थ क्रस्ट में बरी हो जाते हैं, देन दे गेट कन्वर्टेड इनटू कोल. ओके, नाउ व्हाई कोल इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट? बिकॉज most of the energy in India is being generated by coal only. Okay, the energy generated by burying coal or by burning coal is called thermal power. Okay, now here I would like to explain you a little bit about power generation, that what happens during power generation. Okay, in most of the cases we are converting the mechanical energy into the electrical energy. So in most of the power plants we will going to have a turbine with huge blades. Okay, and steam is made to fall on these turbines, and these turbines starts rotating. So mechanical energies get generated and these are then converted into electrical energy. Okay. In most of the cases this steam is being generated by burning the coal. That is why it is called thermal power. If this steam is being generated, water is here in case of thermal power, water is being heated with the help of coal. In case of nuclear energy, what will happen? Water will be being heated by the nuclear energy. That is why it is called nuclear power. Okay, but the rest of the function will be same. Okay. So thermal power. So how much is our dependence on thermal power in India? 75% of the energy is being generated from thermal power itself. Okay, and coal is called black sunshine. Okay, why? Because it is black in color and it produces a lot of heat. It has got a huge calorific value. Okay, so coal is very important as a part of energy resource, but at the same time it is exhaustible and it creates a lot of pollution. It increases the carbon content in our environment. Okay, so next resource is petroleum. Petroleum is made up of two words, petra and oleum. Okay, petra means rock and oleum means oil. Okay, so petroleum in short means rock oil. These are found in the different layers of earth, mostly in the layers of sedimentary rocks, and we are very much dependent on petroleum. The car which we run in our daily use and the big industries also, where big machineries are being run by the help of petroleum only. Petroleum is being imported to India from many of the Middle East countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran. From all these places we get to buy petroleum, okay, and it is sometimes referred to as black gold, okay. Like coal deposits we find in India in Jharkhand. Similarly, we find petroleum in Bombay High oil refineries and Digboi, which is in Assam. Digboi oil refineries, okay. Another important fossil fuel is natural gas, which has been started using recently in India, but in other developed countries it is being used from quite a long time. So what is natural gas? See, in order to, I have already taken the lecture of mining of minerals, right? In that I have already told you that if you want to mine petrol, then you have to do drilling, okay. And whenever we do drilling, we basically take out the crude oil to the surface. And whenever we take out the crude oil to the surface, some of the natural gas is flying just above that layer. That natural gas can be used to run our automobiles, okay. Many a times you must have heard the word CNG, which is nothing but compressed natural gas. Okay, and USA and Europe, these two places are the highest producer and consumer of CNG, and in India CNG is mostly found in the Krishna Delta and Godavari deltas, okay. Now we will discuss the non-conventional energy resources. So non-conventional energy resources, as the name suggests, these resources are those resources which are being used from the recent times only. We have started it using just from last 2 or 3 decades. Okay, that is why it is called non-conventional energy resources. So the first non-conventional energy which we are going to study is solar energy. You must have studied in your junior classes that sun is a huge ball of gas which contains a lot of hydrogen and helium. Okay, and the sun rays which fall on earth has got a lot of energy. We can tap these energy into the silicon cells, into the solar cells made up of silicon. Okay, so solar cells are made up of silicon which can tap the solar energy, and when many solar cells are connected together, they get converted into solar panels. Okay. Most of the tropical countries, as you know that India is one of the tropical countries, it has got a lot of sunlight. We have abundant sunlight, and most of the tropical countries can be benefited from the solar energy. It is also beneficial for developing countries like India, mostly in rural areas. Why so? Because in rural areas a lot of cost will occur if we just set up the whole infrastructure of transmission of electricity. Okay, in solar energy we do not need to set up any transmissional structure or any big poles and wires to transfer the energy. It can be installed just above your home also, on your terrace. So in rural areas it is being used extensively nowadays in India. And mostly where do we use it? We use it for the purpose of cooking, for street lighting, and sometimes for irrigation also. Some other benefit of solar energy is that it is cost effective also. It is easy to install, cost effective, and it can be used for long run. It has got low maintenance cost. Okay, but at the same time we cannot install solar cells everywhere. Wherever we get abundant sunshine, only there it is useful. Okay, this is all about solar energy. Next is wind energy. In those areas where wind speed is sufficiently high, there you must have seen wind farms. Okay, these wind farms are very tall structures with 3 blades. Okay, when wind falls on these blades rotate. When the blades rotate, then the generator is fitted at the bottom of that wind turbine and it starts. Okay, and in such a way wind energy is generated. It is also very useful for India because in India we have many coastal areas where wind speed is quite high. Okay, and wind energy is clean energy, but at the same time it has got some harmful effects also, like it is harmful for the birds also, and it creates problem for TV and radio signals reception. Okay, so in that case it is harmful also in some ways. Next is nuclear power. When energy is generated from the nuclei of radioactive elements like uranium and thorium, it is called nuclear energy. Nuclear reaction is being done under a very shield structure which is called nuclear reactor, and from the energy which is liberated we convert the water into steam. Steam is made to fall on the turbine, and again with the help of generator electricity is generated. Okay. Now nuclear power plants are very useful because the energy liberated is very high. The energy which is liberated from 100 kg of coal is equivalent to the energy liberated from 1 kg of radioactive element. So it is its efficiency is really high, but at the same time, since these are in these radioactive elements are used, it has got a lot of health hazards. Okay, so its advantage is high efficiency and it can meet large energy demands, but at the same time it has health hazards and huge installation cost. Okay, once it is installed, the operation cost is low, but the installation cost itself is very high. In India, we have 5 nuclear power plants, and it is asked in your map questions most of the time. So I will write the names. So these are the 5 nuclear power plants which is asked in your map as well. Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu, Kalpakkam nuclear power plant, Rawat Bhata power plant in Rajasthan, Narora power plant in UP, Kaiga in Karnataka, and Tarapur nuclear power plant in Maharashtra. Okay. Next non-conventional source of energy is geothermal energy. Okay. As we go deep inside the earth, the temperature rises. Okay. Like you must have studied in your junior classes that earth has got 3 layers. Core, mantle and crust. The temperature of mantle itself is around 800 to 2200 degrees Celsius. Okay, and as we move deep down the crust, this temperature rises. Now just imagine when water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, then also it is able to lift the lid placed on that container. Now the magma inside the crust or in the mantle is boiling at 2200 degrees Celsius. So it has got sufficient energy to produce, to convert the water into steam. Okay. Now geothermal energy is basically associated with hot springs. Okay, at many places in India where water is available, due to internal heat of the earth, the water just above that area has got huge temperature, which is called hot springs, and it is used for cooking and for generating electricity also, or heat energy. Okay, in India we have a hot spring in Puga Valley, which is being used for geothermal energy. Next is tidal energy. Tides are associated with sea, right? In sea, high tides are used to generate electricity. The high tide water is being made to fall on the turbine, and again the same process is being followed to generate the electricity. Last is biogas energy. In biogas energy, basically all the organic waste is made to decompose to release methane gas, CH4, and carbon monoxide gas, and these two gases are then used as a cooking fuel. Okay, so biogas energy is another clean energy, and it is in huge quantity in India. It can solve many of the rural problems. So biogas energy is another alternative in contrast to the conventional energy. In conventional energy, hydel power is something which I have left for the last topic. In hydel power, basically energy is being generated by the river waters. Okay, in India is the land of rivers. Okay, here what happens, we construct a dam over a river. Suppose this is a river. A dam is nothing but a barrier. Okay, so if I have constructed a dam, then here the water will get reserved. Okay, this is the water reservoir, and after the water get reserved to a certain height, we use pipeline to move this water, and it is filled on the turbine. Okay, the water, when it is in the rest condition, it is having a lot of potential energy. It is made to fall on the turbine, and again the electricity is being generated. In India, 25% of the electricity is being generated from the hydel power. Now my question is, why 25% only when India is a land of river? Okay, I have already taught you that with the help of coal energy, we are generating approximately 75% of our heat energy demands. On the other hand, only 25% of the electricity is being generated from the hydel power. The reason is that here the water itself is made to fall on the turbine, but in case of thermal power energy, or in case of nuclear power energy, most of the time we have seen that steam is made to fall on the turbine, and the latent heat energy of the steam is much higher than that of water. That is why we are dependent on coal much instead of water. It is much more efficient. Okay, that is why. So let us move to the last topic, that is conservation of energy resources. It's a very small topic, conservation of energy resources. We should use renewable energy as much as possible, because this is something which will never get exhausted. Okay, so this is the first way to conserve energy. Second is we should do energy planning. Or we should use all these power resources in a very planned way. Third is to use power efficient machineries. Okay, you must have observed that nowadays the equipments are having some stars, right? Like if you buy an AC or buy a refrigerator, it has got some stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. The more the stars, the more efficient that equipment is. So we should use power efficient machineries that will use less energy. Okay. And last is efficient power plants. The power plants where the energy is being generated many a times has got obsolete machines, or many a times the machine are old, so the efficiency becomes lower. So we should keep on maintaining the power plants and we should use efficient power plants. Okay, that is for today. Thank you.